Our countdown to the big match in Celta Vigo starts here. We've got Kevin Keatings and Jerry Armstrong to bring you expert coverage and full live and exclusive coverage of the match between the two unbeaten sides in Spain and in Britain. Aston Villa lead the Premiership. Celta Vigo are going well in fifth place now, with 6 games played, 4 draws and 2 wins. They're only 3 points behind the leaders, Real Madrid. It's a big game in the UEFA Cup second round. It's live on Eurosport. Two contrasting teams then. Celta Vigo in the European competitions for only the second time. They went out in the first round in the 71-72 UEFA Cup. Aston Villa won the European Cup, of course, in 1982. Here we go then. Villa Park will be the venue in 2 weeks' time for the second leg. Aston Villa are a club deep in history, and they're having a fantastic start to the season under John Gregory. Gregory was a surprise choice to take over from Brian Little. Since he did after Little's resignation, it's been a tremendous achievement to have played a total of 18 games and only lose 3, one to Atletico Madrid, the other to Barnsley and Bolton. And at the moment, Villa are going well in the Premiership. They're captained by Gareth Southgate.
At the end of last year, we managed to win 8 out of our last 10 games, which meant we were able to qualify for the UEFA Cup this season. And we've managed to continue that form. I think we've had the best start of any Premier team since the Premier League was started in this country, so we're very pleased here.
They have every right to be so, and particularly John Gregory, the surprise choice of manager in succession to Brian Little, who resigned in amazing fashion in February. How did he come about getting the job? John Gregory explains himself.
Yeah, it was a big shock for me as well to have got the chance to manage Aston Villa. Obviously was working here before as a coach, but I left for 16 months to go and manage a club in Division 2 in England, and had a great opportunity to come back and manage Aston Villa. So it's an opportunity I was never going to pass on. I wanted it to happen, so I took the gamble to come back, and things have worked out so far pretty good.
With the exception of Mark Bosnich, the Australian, who incidentally isn't fit to play tonight, it's an all-English team, including Lee Hendry.
Everyone's sky high, confidence is flowing, it's just magnificent. Everyone wants to score, everyone wants to be a part of it, it's brilliant.
Villa have gone into the transfer market after losing out on Dwight Yorke to Manchester United. They sold him for £12 million. They recently bought Steve Watson from Newcastle and Paul Merson, controversially, from Middlesbrough.
We spent 6 3/4 on Paul Merson, and then we've just spent $4 million on Stevie Watson. So we've got 2 players for the price of 1 so far. So I think out of it, we're all very happy with it.
There may be 3 clubs in Birmingham. West Bromwich Albion and Birmingham City are fighting to get into the Premiership this season, but the big club in the Midlands in the city of Birmingham is Aston Villa. And of course John Gregory, as a former player, knows the tradition. Here's Gareth Southgate, of course, explaining.
Apart from the goalkeeper Mark Bosnich, who is Australian, the rest of the squad are all English, and we've managed to sign Paul Merson and Steve Watson now, who have both been involved with the England squad in the last couple of years. So I think that there is a special spirit there. I think that we had some bad experiences with some European players last year, and the manager decided that he wanted to sign players who it wasn't going to be a problem for them to settle into the way of life and the different language and that kind of thing. And because it is difficult for players to come to a different country and settle down. So I don't think the manager will never sign foreign players. I think if the right people were there, he would go and get them. But at the moment, he feels that he wants to continue with the English-based or English-born players.
A clear exception to the rule, and with the signing by Manchester United of Dwight Yorke and Savo Milosevic's departure, more pressure is surely on Stan Collymore. He was a high-profile signing from Liverpool.
People say that maybe we haven't got the strength that Manchester United or Arsenal have got, but I'm sure the club have got money to spend, and if we buy some more players and get more quality players, I'm sure that we can beat most teams in the league. I think that everybody works hard in the team, and we need a little bit of luck, and things should be okay.
Last week it was Gareth Southgate who got on the score sheet for England in Luxembourg. Incidentally, Lee Hendry scored in the under-21s and Darius Vassell scored for the under-18s. So things are looking good for the English Villa players.
We had 4 boys away on international duty this week for the various England teams, and 3 of them managed to score goals for England. Darius Vassell, a young coloured boy, scored for the under-18s against Italy, and Lee Hendry scored for the under-21s over in Luxembourg in their 5-0 victory. And of course Gareth scored in the senior team, so we've had a good week.
A good week, but despite the fact that they're league leaders, there isn't a massive crowd at the training ground. Nevertheless, the steady supply of Villa fans who have made it, a couple here getting the autographs, and the trip being worthwhile from both Southgate and John Gregory.
Yes, thank you very much.
While things are going very well, you just want to keep playing all the time. That's always the way. I think at the end of last season, I came back to the club in February, and we had 11 games, of which we won 9 league games and lost 2. And we wanted it to carry on because we were just sort of getting the buzz again, and things were just beginning to happen again for us. And I suppose we wanted the season to continue, but at this stage of the season we've had 8 games, and the 8th game was against Coventry, and from our point of view it was quite nice maybe to have that fortnight break.
Well, Villa actually managed to play another game at the weekend and draw 0-0 against West Ham. For them, though, the season has only just begun. What is a realistic target for John Gregory?
The end of the season is really just to win the 4 competitions that we're in. I'd like to win the UEFA Cup, the FA Cup, the League Cup and the Premiership. And then I'll be a happy man. And then I'm going to resign and pack it all in and go and live in a caravan somewhere in southern France.
So Aston Villa's, their target is Celta Vigo. And tonight we feature Celta Vigo, an analysis of them. Live coverage coming up from the stadium shortly. Stay with us. Long challenge at the start of this season in what could be one of their best ever campaigns in Spanish football. They've certainly not got a team of stars, but in Lugoslav Penev, the Bulgarian, they've got a player who's made an immediate impact. Their season began with a scoreless draw at home to Deportivo La Coruña. There were chances for the home side, but Deportivo managed to hold out for a draw. Finished 0-0, but Stan Collymore explains they'll be hard to beat tonight.
I think Spanish football is obviously very different from English football. English football is very physical and very fast, and Spanish football is a lot slower and more technique based. But we did well. We played Bilbao also last year, so you know we know what it means to go to places, and you know it's going to be very difficult. And if we can go there and get a positive result, whether it be a draw or a win, I'm sure that we can go back to Villa Park and win the game overall.
Well, Celta Vigo have gone to the Nou Camp this season and fought out a creditable 2-2 draw against Barcelona. Salgado scoring one of the goals, and watch out tonight also for the pace of Makalele. The teams have just been announced, and Celta Vigo's include Karpin, Mostovoy, Revio and Penev here in goal-scoring action with Mostovoy and Makalele. Here's John Gregory.
I mean, really all I know about Vigo is that they were somewhat a surprise package last year. I believe this is only the second time that they've been in UEFA. I believe that's true, and so they're fairly inexperienced at a European level, but they had an outstanding victory in the first leg. In the first round, they managed to. I think they went through 8-0 on aggregate. Yeah. So they've done particularly well in the first round.
Well, they also managed to beat Bilbao, who are one of Spain's representatives in the Champions League. Here, Caceres getting amongst the goals, but Villa have got to watch out for Ljuboslav Penev. This game in the 5th match day in Spain this season was all about Penev, who managed to score twice, and he's got a great record this season, scoring a hat-trick in Europe and also scoring 6 in the league. This was his first goal in that match against Bilbao. So the Celta team, which has been announced, is Dugout, Michel, Caceres, Djorovic, Mazinho, Makelele, Karpin, Mostovoy, Revivo and Penev. Josmar has come in for Burgess in the likely starting 11 that they were going to employ. Aston Villa just make one change to the prize selection, is that Shamika will come in for Grayson. So here we're seeing Celta Vigo and their win against Bilbao. Quickly run through for you the Villa side tonight. Oaks in goal, Wright, Barry, Southgate, Aguiog and Charles, Hendry, Draper and Shamika, Joachim and Collymore. Here's Gareth Southgate talking about Penev.
I played against him at Wembley, the first time I started a match for England against Bulgaria. We won 1-0, and Penev played with Lechkov, and it was a difficult game. It was my first international, so I have some fond memories of that, and we hope we can get a similar result on Tuesday night.
The recent form guide for Celta Vigo was a game against Betis at the weekend. The first goal was a beauty from the former Marseille man, Makelele. Betis have struggled this season, but Makelele, who's not renowned for his goal scoring, had a fine match. Goal number 2 coming up from Sanchez. Sanchez not playing in this game tonight, but nevertheless, despite the changes that have been forced on Victor Fernandez, it was a comfortable performance and a 3-0 away win in Seville against Real Betis. As John Gregory explains, it'll be difficult for Villa.
Going to the game as prepared as we can be, and we've got everything organised. I mean, we roughly know what their team is and how they play, and but I don't go into too much detail worrying about opposition. I think it's the same in the Premiership. I know who we're playing, I know how they like to play, strengths, weaknesses, set pieces. Other than that, I don't really go into the opposition too much. I concern myself with Aston Villa. That's the most important thing for me. And providing on Tuesday night that we're as prepared as we can be, we feel that we can beat anybody in the world. We feel we're bulletproof, particularly at the moment,
Bulletproof, but Mark Bosnich has been declared unfit for the game this evening, and he is replaced by Michael Oakes, the substitute, who's been training hard for his big occasion. Villa fans will be used, though, of course, to a substitute goalkeeper. They'll remember that it was Nigel Spink who made his European debut in the final when they won the European Cup in 1982. Villa tonight will be without 2 players suspended. Ian Taylor, who scored for them against Atletico Madrid in the quarter-final, and, of course, Alan Thompson, who picked up a yellow card against Stromgotset and will be suspended as well. So Taylor and Thompson both will miss the game tonight, and that's obviously a big blow. This was an innocuous booking in the second leg, and one which obviously disappointed John Gregory.
Players that under normal circumstances would play, but as I said, I have Simon Grayson, I have Ricardo Shamika, who's both of those 2 players have done exceptionally well when they've gone into the team, and I can change the team round a little bit. I can play with 1 up front only, maybe 4 in midfield, or I can play 3 up front, 2 up front. We're very versatile. We can all adopt new positions if we need to, but everybody in my team knows what's required when they go in there, so we don't have any problems changing the faces at all.
So Ricardo Shamika tonight is preferred to Simon Grayson, as confirmed there by John Gregory. Live coverage coming up. We focus on Stan Collymore next, and then it's live to the stadium. Stay with us. Game in Vigo against Celta Vigo, and it was looking very ominous for them in the first leg at Villa Park in the first round. Mikkelsen and George putting Stromsgodset 2-0 up, and when Mark Bosnich was called on to make a great save here, the tie could have been all over. But with just 8 minutes left, Villa's comeback began. The first goal scored by Gary Charles on 83 minutes, and then the youngster Darius Vassell scoring twice in stoppage time, and an amazing win.
First leg against Stromsgodset, the Norwegians, at Villa Park. We were 2-0 down and never looked like we were going to score a goal at all. And then Darius went on with 10 minutes to go. We were 2-1 down at the time. And Steve Harrison, my coach, his final instructions to Darius were go on and score us 2 goals, son, and win the match. And that's what he did. So he's a good boy, he does as he's told.
In the second leg, there was one man who dominated the whole match. It was Stan Collymore. Brilliant finishing. He scored a hat-trick, and Villa get through to the second round. Stan Collymore's a real enigma. There's no doubt he's got the talent. Sometimes the fans are frustrated he doesn't show it on a more regular basis. But when Dwight York has left, now Collymore has got the centre stage to become a real hero at Villa Park. For him, he knows that providing he can keep free of injury, things surely can work his way into becoming the main man at Villa Park. Dwight York may have left, but for Villa fans, Collymore is the man.
Obviously I had an injury the first 3 or 4 games of the season. My first game was in Europe, in Norway, and I managed to score 3 goals, so that was good for me.
Collymore admits he's not fully fit, but John Gregory knows that when he is, he's as dangerous a striker as any in the Premiership. No one has ever denied that Collymore has talent.
He's not back completely yet. He's not fully recovered from his injury and his rather traumatic last 2 seasons. He's had a difficult time, but nevertheless he's back in now with the lads, and he's working exceptionally hard on the training ground, and he's looking very hungry again, looking to be a major success for Aston Villa.
Stan Collymore will partner Julian Joachim up front tonight in Vigo. We'll have the whole match live coming up shortly. Here's John Gregory.
I'll pick Stan. If Stan keeps playing well every week, I'll keep picking him. If he doesn't play well, then I have every opportunity to make him the substitute or something, you know. So that's up to Stanley, but we're certainly giving him every opportunity. I mean, we're giving him all the support he needs. He gets in our dressing room, and from the coaching staff and the players, we're all on his side. And the supporters, I think, have been very good to Stan, because they regard him as a hero for the club. And Stan, as you know, was a Villa fan as a child as well. So he's got a certain empathy with the supporters as well as the management. And I just hope now that he scores 3 again this weekend and scores 4 or 5 in Spain on Tuesday. That would be fantastic.
Collymore failed to get a goal at the weekend against Aston Villa in the 0-0 draw, and has had experience of European football with Liverpool, here playing in the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup.
Different game, European games, because firstly you want to be, most teams would like to play away first, not concede any goals and hopefully score 1, and then obviously go back to your home ground and win the tie there. We did that very well last season in the UEFA Cup and just missed out against Atletico Madrid. But the players that played in the tournament last year learnt a lot. We got close, obviously, in the Cup Winners' Cup with Liverpool. We lost to PSG over 2 games in the semi-final, and then the quarter-final last season against Atletico Madrid. So getting closer, but it would be nice to play in a big European final, yeah, definitely.
And next we'll be going live to Celta Vigo. Kick-off shortly, and stay with us on Eurosport. Armstrong, your match commentators for live coverage of Celta Vigo against Aston Villa. Angus Loughran, enjoy the game.
With active driving, active safety, Subaru.
A warm welcome from the Balaidos Stadium on the northwest tip of Spain for what should be a mouth-watering game in prospect between two of Europe's most in-form sides. Neither Celta Vigo or Aston Villa have tasted defeat in either domestic league so far. That's some 15 games between them. And of course came through the last round of this competition successfully and won all 4 legs. Aston Villa, who put out the part-timers of Norway's Strømgodset, while Celta Vigo, about whom no less a figure than Johan Cruyff said as recently as yesterday, were the best team currently in Spain. They put out a Romanian side, Arges Vitesti, 8-0 on aggregate, and won the return leg here in this Balaidos Stadium by 7 goals to 0. That's the sort of opposition that Aston Villa are up against tonight. And let's take a look at the 2 lineups for you. This is the Celta Vigo side, something of the Chelsea of the Primera Liga here in Spain. No less than 7 nationalities in that lineup, and we'll talk about some of the individuals shortly. The Aston Villa side showing just one change from the side that we thought would line up here, and that is that Ricardo Shamika has come into the Aston Villa side instead of Simon Grayson. It was pretty much a choice between the two in midfield and which John Gregory would go with, but it would seem that Shamika is going to get a deep lying role in midfield tonight for Aston Villa. But let's remind you that they are without several players, missing a suspended Alan Thompson and Ian Taylor, linchpins in the midfield so far this season in Villa's rise to the top of the Premier League table. Paul Merson is ineligible to the quarter-finals, that's if Villa progress, while new signing from Newcastle Steve Watson is ruled out of the entire competition. He played for Newcastle in the European Cup Winners' Cup against Partizan Belgrade. Well, alongside me, a man who knows all about Spanish football, former Northern Ireland international Jerry Armstrong, who played a couple of years in the mid-80s with Mallorca. And we'll hear from Jerry very shortly indeed on what should be a terrific game. Well, Jerry, it really is a mouth-watering prospect.
Well, something's got to give tonight, Kevin, and it couldn't be a tougher game for Aston Villa. Celta Vigo are really the informed side. They're only one of 2 sides who have not lost a game in the Primera League in Spain. Mallorca, the other side, who are undefeated, my old club. But they're a very exciting team. They've got some tremendous players. One to look out for tonight is Jaime Revivo, who I'm sure is going to excite a lot of the fans. Great left foot, Israeli international, and his nickname is the Magician. So shall we see some magic from him tonight?
It's a test of Villa's know-how, their organisation. The homework that John Gregory has put in has extended to bringing out the former Celta Vigo manager, Colin Addison, who you remember was in charge of Derby County amongst others in the English League. And he's brought Colin Addison out for his background knowledge of Spanish football. But there's high quality in the side. Referee is from Turkey, Mr. Sarvan, just checking on our kick-off time. But the 2 men over the ball are Lubo Penev, the veteran now Bulgarian, who joined Celta in the summer on a free transfer from Compostela. And alongside him is Alexander Mostovoy, another player to keep an eye out for tonight. One of 2 Russian internationals in this Celta side. Some early work now for Alan Wright. Live and exclusive, this UEFA Cup second round first leg here on Eurosport. And an early free kick for that push on right. And it'll be Michael Oakes who's going to take the free kick for Villa. In the side because Mark Bosnich is currently out injured, which gives Villa perhaps almost a unique lineup tonight, certainly for an English side playing in Europe. 11 Englishmen in this starting 11, and of their 5 substitutes, 4 more Englishmen, plus the young teenage Italian Fabio Ferraresi, young midfield player they signed in the summer from Cesena on a free. This is Ugo Ehiot. Now Gareth Barry, more about him later. Trained with the full England squad recently. He's 17-year-old. What an impact he's made into the English Premiership. Away by Wright. And there'll be a throw in. Well, Gareth Barry actually lives not far from you, doesn't he, in Brighton, Jerry, where you live these days?
Yes.
Or did until recently.
Yes, that's right, and I believe his case for the tribunal is coming up tomorrow. But he was a player who was with Brighton, with Vic Bragg, who looked after the schoolboy team, and also Steve Avery. And they coached him, obviously, at the School of Excellence there, and now he's moved on to Aston Villa and signed, obviously, as a professional.
Villa now in possession with Lee Hendry. So that carried out of it though, and it's Celta coming forward now. Again broken up by Villa. Collymore, how Villa would like his sort of goal scoring prowess from the last away leg in Europe, trying to set in Julian Joachim, but Dutroux, the French goalkeeper of Celta, was out.
He's actually a decent goalkeeper. I've seen him play on numerous occasions. He's a good build. He's a 6'2", 6'3" lad, and he was very alert there to come out off the edge of his box and thwart that danger from the pacey Julian Joachim. Collymore trying to get the better of Michel Salgado, wearing 2. Much to the annoyance of the home fans, the throw-in has gone Aston Villa's way. Is Mecca. Collymore showing the passion that he's suddenly refound in his game and could yet live up to that £7 million transfer fee that they paid Liverpool. Joachim. Now Charles, decent ball in, stabbed away, and it was Jorovic, the Yugoslav, who got away there to concede a corner to Aston Villa. It's not a bad opening start from Aston Villa. I thought they would have been under a lot more pressure, Kevin, than this, and they've actually managed to form a couple of counter-attacks themselves, and a good time to get a corner. Can they get something from this now? Well, they come into this game with so much confidence after their terrific start to the Premier League, as the corner is played in, and just for a moment they were struggling to get it away via Mazinho, but now Villa stay camped inside the Celta half. Here's Hendry. Pass to no one in particular in the end, and is with Dutroux, 25-year-old Celta Vigo goalkeeper, 2 years at the club. He's in his 3rd season now, formerly played with Paris Saint-Germain and Caen. This is Revivo. Now Joachim, Hendry. Looking confident early on though, Jerry. Aston Villa trying to work some neat passing moves. They are, and Celta de Vigo's just starting to put a little bit more pressure on them. They're trying to work their first touch. They're trying to close them down quickly and force them into mistakes. And I think that'll be a pattern of the game for the first 15-20 minutes. This is Michel Salgado. Revivo is wide. This is Mostovoy, the Russian. He's got a good dig on him. Watch out for free kicks from Mostovoy. He's somewhat of a specialist. Now Revivo, the Israeli, who's due to have a groin operation tomorrow in his native country, but he was actually due to have it before now, but they've delayed it so he can play the man they call the Magician tonight, as Mostovoy tries a shot blocked by Echiog, and now it's with Alan Wright. What a buy he's been for Aston Villa. He and Gary Charles have been rock solid at wing backs for Aston Villa, who play, Jerry Armstrong, I think it's fair to say, the 3 centre backs and wing backs as good as anybody. Yes, I mean the 2 markers, Echiog and the young boy Gareth Barry, have done exceptionally well. If you think that they've only conceded 2 goals in 9 Premiership games, that's exceptional. Away by Barry. Here is Charles.
Joachim. Now this is the captain, the Brazilian, Mazinho. Won the World Cup in '94 with the Brazilian national side. And stabbed away by Southgate for a corner. Celta Vigo's first. But there is a real cosmopolitan look about this Celta Vigo side, in stark contrast to that Villa lineup I mentioned earlier. There's Michael Oakes, the Villa keeper. Now, Villa have to remain fully concentrated here as Celta try the short corner. Whipped in and away by big Hugo Egiog. And Gary Charles a little short with a back header. And there's going to be another corner to Celta Vigo, putting on a little bit of pressure.
Yes, Clefairy's put him under a little bit of pressure. And there was a slight mix-up there between Gary Charles and Hugo Egiog. You can just see it. And I think Gary Charles would have been better letting Egiog clear that one away, because they've conceded a corner,
which Mostovoy is going to take. Away by Southgate, but Villa still under pressure. Mostovoy again, looking for Mazinho. Well, tried to get the range with a shot, but well off target in the end.
Yes, it was. He's not renowned for scoring many goals, but from creating in midfield, he really is the midfield general from Celta de Vigo's point of view. And hopefully he doesn't get a lot of the ball tonight, because I feel if they can control Mazinho in the middle of the park, then they've got a chance of getting a result out of this game.
Collymore climbing, and it's out for a throw to Celta. Celta's throw then, rather wasted, and Villa have got a throw this time. But nice to see that Aston Villa have come looking quite positive in the opening minutes here, not prepared to sit back and try and defend against what is a quality side and an informed side. But there's Egiog in quickly. Good work by Joachim, just trying to roll off the shoulder of Michel Salgado. And that's Karpin, the other Russian, but held up by Joachim, who looked to be balked there. And the referee, Mr. Salvan, says that will be a free kick to Aston Villa in a very advantageous position.
Well, Julian Joachim's pace is going to unsettle any defence, and I think it's a nice combination with the height and strength of Stan the man Collymore and Julian's pace, and hopefully that'll be a good combination tonight. And he's worked well there to get himself a free kick on the edge of the box.
So the two players over this are Mark Draper and Alan Wright. Plenty of movement from the Villa players in there, but it's straight onto the head of Caceres. Back into the danger area again as far as Celta are concerned, but given away rather by Southgate, who'd stayed up from the initial free kick. But far be it for me to disagree or even question a comment from the great Johan Cruyff, Jerry, but you know quite a bit, as I said earlier, about Spanish football. Are they currently the best in Spain?
Well, they're the most informed side, I think, in Spain at the moment. Certainly they're an attractive side. When they're in full flow, they're a magnificent side, and I can see why Cruyff is a great lover of the team and the style, because they do try to play attacking football, and sometimes it can be a little bit vulnerable because they do try and get forward too much, and hopefully that will work to Aston Villa's advantage tonight.
Mazinho with a free kick. Here's Mostovoy, just loves to sit in the hole and pick up space, but couldn't really find Josima, who was looking to get forward down that left-hand side. But let's remind you that although Celta Vigo are unbeaten, they have actually drawn 4 of their 6 Primera Liga games so far.
Hard to beat, I think, is what they are. I mean, they've won 2 other games, but they were very emphatic winners on Sunday just gone against Real Betis, who are an exceptionally good side, and they've gone there and won 3-0.
Goals from Makaleli, Sanchez and Cadete, the latter 2 both on the bench tonight. Nice, a good ball. Excellent run here now by Joachim. real opportunities here for Villa. Collymore just couldn't climb. Alan Wright couldn't pick it up. But they're causing problems principally down this right-hand side.
Well, again, it's good play. I mean, tremendous play, and the pace of Julian Joachim, just like we said a few moments ago, Kevin, he's gone past the last defender. He's got a great ball into the back post, and it's just, unfortunately, it's just too high for Stan. And in the end, they scrambled the ball away, but that's a great opportunity.
Just wonder whether John Gregory and Aston Villa, there's a win for one of the other Spanish sides in the UEFA Cup. Atletico Madrid winning 4-2. It's a good result against CSKA Sofia in Bulgaria. But 4 Spanish sides in the UEFA Cup. But what delights Celta Vigo from the Galicia region here of northwest Spain is their arch rivals around 100 kilometres away. Deportivo La Coruña haven't made it, offside against Collymore. It's given the locals quite a lot of pride.
Yes, I mean, in the last sort of 7 or 8 years, Deportivo are the side who have done very well. But Celta are probably the better known of the two sides. And if you look at their histories, and certainly I think the fans are pleased to see Celta finish in 6th place last year above their old rivals.
They currently lie 5th. Real Madrid currently lead the Spanish league table. Gary Charles with a throw, away by Josimar. Point I was going to make, I wonder whether John Gregory's aware that Josimar, we understand, has played most of his career as a right back, although he has played for several times at left back, coming in for Berges, who's just coming back from a long injury absence, as Southgate tidies up neatly. But although he has some experience at left back, he is principally a right back.
Yes, and he's not. I've seen him pushing forward a few minutes ago, Kevin, and he doesn't really. He's not renowned for his attacking prowess. He's more of a defender, an out-and-out defender, a marker even. So I'll be surprised if he pushes forward too much.
It's with Mazinho, very much the principal playmaker in midfield, the Brazilian skipper. Mostovoy looking for teammate who was very well marked. Now Mazinho tries again. Alan Wright. It wasn't the best of interceptions. Now Carpine, a good run here by Michel Salgado. Couldn't find the cross he was looking for, had far too much depth. And Gary Charles will tidy up. It's Djurovic wearing 19. I gather 1 or 2 English Premier League clubs are currently running the rule over the Yugoslav international. Highly experienced.
He's having a good season, and he's done exceptionally well since he's been here. I can see why someone would want to come and watch him. Comfortable on the ball, ex-Partizan, Red Star Belgrade player, and they got him actually for quite a cheap fee. I think it was 1.2, 1.3 million.
Southgate. Right. Can't find Collymore though. In the way is Caceres. It's Mazinho to Salgado. This is Carpine. Trying to set it up, but Villa wouldn't allow the space on the edge of that penalty area. Collymore now. Typical run from him, might go all the way here. Now Joachim stayed on side. Great chance here. Oh yes, Aston Villa in front. A terrific setup from Stan Collymore, and Julian Joachim's pace got him clear of the Celta Vigo defence. The Aston Villa fans, who've travelled hugely confident after their start in the English Premier League. And what a positive beginning, set up by Collymore and finished by Joachim.
Well, Stan really is the man there, because he's a tremendous turn of pace. He's gone past 2 or 3 defenders, and he slotted a lovely ball in front for Julian Joachim. And this is all about coolness and calmness, coming up. The goalkeeper's spreading himself, and he slotted it underneath the goalkeeper's body. And a great goal, and just the sort of tonic that Aston Villa needed in the opening 15 minutes of this away leg.
An away goal, so crucial. That could be the pace, and he knew exactly what he was about there. Joachim kept his head, and a cool finish through the legs of Ditruel. Now it's Celta looking for an immediate riposte. It's away by Barry, decent cover. Now Mazinho. Too much depth though on the ball from for Carpin. That man delighted. This Balaidos Stadium holds just under 32,000. It's not exactly full tonight, but they make a lot of noise normally. But the goal from Julian Joachim has quietened the home faithful here. Nice work now from Ravivo. It's Penef wearing 14, back to Mazinho. This is Mostovoy. Good work there by Lee Hendry. Bits and pieces job he does so well in midfield for Aston Villa. It was somewhat of a late challenge on Stan Collymore, and he felt the effects of that. And I'm rather surprised, although maybe the yellow card's going to be delayed here, but that looked to be a definite case of a challenge from behind, Jerry, from Caceres, and Collymore felt it.
It certainly looked like it for me. You can see as he's controlled the ball and let it off, he's definitely been caught by the Argentinian defender. Just come straight through the back of him. I think you're absolutely right, Kevin. That was, for me, that was a yellow card.
That's Jim Walker, the Aston Villa physio, on to administer to Collymore. It's a rather nervous-looking Celta Vigo bench. Their coach, Victor Fernandez, who was in charge of Real Zaragoza when they beat Arsenal in the European Cup Winners' Cup final. That freak goal from Naeem that rather embarrassed David Seaman. I'm sure you remember that. He's done a good job in his time here, though, at Celta. As Jerry mentioned earlier, their best ever finish in the top flight of Spanish football last season, 6th, and looking to better it this time round. Mostovoy, Mazinho. This is Michel Salgado, and a little bit of retribution there from Collymore. Not on the man who affected the initial challenge, which brought his injury, but this time Collymore a little late. Don't think there was anything malicious about it.
I think you can just see there, he's just caught his toe, just on the end of his toe, and I don't think it was intentional. And Salgado's done very, very quickly, but the Turkish referee seen the smart side of it, and knowing it wasn't a purposeful challenge.
Striker's tackle, let's say.
He's more clumsy than anything, to be honest.
You could tackle better than that, though, couldn't you?
I would definitely have caught him better than that, Kevin.
This is Valery Karpin, highly experienced Russian international. He and Mostovoy, I remember, used to be teammates in the fine Spartak Moscow side a few years ago. Michael Oakes will be happy. Very much a rookie. Only 8 league games for Villa last season. 2 or 3 this season for the injured Bosnich, but he'll be happy that Villa have protected his goal as well as they have so far.
Absolutely. Defensively, I mean, you cannot fault Aston Villa, as I say, conceding just 2 goals in 9 games this season shows how tough they are. But it's a team that works so hard. You can see how hard Stan Collymore is working across the line, preventing them getting crosses in.
Challenge there by Gary Charles on Josima. 1 or 2 mistimed tackles going in. The referee again doesn't look as though he's going to produce a yellow card, which surprises me somewhat. He was high.
Sure, no. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a red card, that one. I think he is very fortunate. Gary Charles is very fortunate still to be on the pitch. He's got to certainly curb his enthusiasm. That's a terrible challenge. Well, he could easily have broken his leg.
That is not a challenge that will please his manager John Gregory, because Villa can ill afford to have a player sent off, but he wasn't even shown yellow for that. A very lucky boy there, Gary Charles. And Josima equally lucky not to have sustained a nasty injury. Mostovoy with a free kick, headed away. Mazinho to Salgado. Gareth Barry getting in a decent challenge, sticking diligently to the task. A solid 20 minutes from Aston Villa. I tell you, we've not seen a great deal of so far, and I hope I'm not tempting fate, Jerry, is Makalele, the boy who was born in Zaire and now the Republic of Congo, but he's got French nationality, and we heard There's so many Spanish fans telling us how they were singing his praises, and he was a real star here.
Yes, they reckon he's the best player to come out of France in recent years, and they said he can do everything. He's quick, he's skillful, he's strong, and you're right, he hasn't done a lot. Neither has Jaime Revivo either. He's had a very quiet start to the game. I think they're looking to get some service to this man, Lugo Penev, and who currently holds the record for the most goals in the Spanish Primera League, 118 goals, and he's still currently playing.
Tell you what, I wouldn't like to meet him down a blind alley, or dark alley. He's a big fella, isn't he? 33 now, Lugo Penev, just recently retired from Bulgarian football. Now, Barry caught out. Chance here now for Celta, but again, a good challenge coming in. Excellent work from midfield there from Aston Villa. The work ethic that you were talking about, Jerry, is very much to the fore.
It is evident. One player's missed a challenge on the edge of the box, Gareth Barry. Another player comes in and covers for him, and that's how you're getting results. And this is why Aston Villa are such a good team at the present time. If they can maintain this sort of form, they're going to be a very, very tough side to beat, and it's great to watch.
This is Josima. Now Mostovoy, Mazinho. It was Makaleli actually getting a rare touch. Now it's Mazinho to Josima. Makaleli just peeling off. He was in a good position there, but possibly the wrong ball there played by Josima, trying to play Revivo in. Collymore pulled up for a push on Mazinho. Nice to see a little handshake between the two. This is Josima. Salgado, neat 1-2 with Carpin. But look who's there for Aston Villa, Gareth Barry. It's good work equally by Carpin, who did well to get his cross in, but an easy take for Oaks.
Well, it is an easy take, but it's a nice take for him because it's the first time he's had to come purposefully and collect the ball, and he'll be happy with that. And it's 22 minutes gone, which is, you know, superb from defensively from the Aston Villa side. From front to back, they've been magnificent.
Well, John Gregory was telling us that the players that would come in for the players who are out tonight, and they're without several regulars so far in the English Premier League. He said the players that came in knew exactly the system, knew what they were about, and we're seeing evidence of it.
Well, we can't argue with the evidence we've seen so far, Kevin. I actually had a little bit of a worry about missing Ian Taylor and missing Alan Thompson, and obviously Paul Merson missing as well. So with the several players that were out, I thought it was going to weaken the side, and I haven't seen any evidence of that so far.
Here's Joachim, almost getting a touch, the man who put Villa in front. If you've just switched on, it's been an excellent start from Aston Villa. The goal coming after 15 minutes and set up by a revitalised Stan Collymore. This is Mazinho. Easy to spot the huge figure of Penev coming deep. Mazinho again. Plays so much through him through the middle of the park. This is the Israeli. Revivo. And just picking up the point that Jerry Armstrong was saying, Revivo's not quite found his touch so far. Mostovoy's been quite busy, and the attacks that Celta Vigo have managed so far, wearing 20 for the Spaniards. Collymore climbing with Jorovic. Little enlarged show up there for Villa though, and Joachim can't get the better of Caceres. Now it's with Michel Salgado. And 2 caps for Spain. Mostovoy. Saw him score an absolutely brilliant free kick for Russia in a recent European Championship qualifier. Josima. Mazinho. Again though, not really on the same wavelength there with Revivo.
They're not finding their passing in the final third. Revivo, Lubo Penev relies on crosses, and Revivo and Carpin are not getting the service, and they're not getting the crosses into him. And while it stays like that, Aston Villa will be very happy.
Now this is Makaleli showing that speed we were talking about and trickery, but again as a player in the right place at the right time. This time it was Mark Draper. Live and exclusive on Eurosport. here in the Balaidos Stadium. Celta Vigo 0, Aston Villa 1. It's been a terrific start for the English side so far, although you have to say that Celta have enjoyed more of the possession in the last 5-10 minutes, but as we've said, not making the best use of that possession. Draper looks for Joachim. He's certainly got the pace to unnerve Celta on the counter-attack as well. Hold it up, he needs support now. Shamika trying to get in there. He's been pretty much on the periphery of things so far for Villa, but trying to do that holding job in midfield. Now there's space though. It's Mostovoy. Chance here now. And the foul is committed by Southgate. And the player that's gone down is Penef. And this is a difficult position now for Aston Villa to defend right in Mostovoy territory.
Well, he's dived in. Gareth has just dived in, and Lugo Penn have used all of his experience just to knock the ball to the one side, and you can see he's very clever. He's gone down quickly. Very dangerous position. You've got someone like Mostovoy, and you've got Revivo, and you've got Pennev himself, who can all strike great balls from free kicks.
No doubt about it. It's going to be the number 20 who's going to curl this, attempt to curl it around the wall, and Michael Oakes will know all about Mostovoy's prowess. They'll have talked about that in the Villa dressing room. Now this boy can really hit them. 6-7 in the wall, and got some bend on it. But in the end, Oakes stayed rooted to the spot, and I think knew that it was flying wide.
Well, thankfully, Kevin, it did go wide, because when he first struck it and it went over the top of the wall, I thought it was good in the corner. But he's shaking his head as we're watching it, and we can see it again. It's not that far away. It's not that far away at all. It's just dipped over the top of the crossbar. A lot of curl and swerve on that, wasn't there?
I think I was a little kind to Michael Oakes. If that had been 2 feet under, that was a goal all the way. He wouldn't have got a sniff of it. So, a reminder of Mostovoy's prowess. And Villa can ill afford to give unnecessary free kicks, as Southgate did on that occasion. Here's Mazzinho to Revivo. Jossima held up by Collymore, showing his willingness to work for the team tonight. He really is up for it at the moment, Stan Collymore. And long may it continue, because we've all known that he's got wonderful talent. It's all about harnessing it, really.
Absolutely, and he seems to have got the bit between the teeth this season. I think particularly in the last round when he got his hat-trick, it's certainly given him a big lift, and his performances since then have been exceptional. And we've seen how he started. He's been on fire the opening 27-28 minutes.
This is Jorovic. Now Makaleli. Penef's turn, just found Mazzinho. Neat build-up play again by Celta. Penef putting Villa under pressure, hacked away by Southgate. And just for a moment there was a little bit of indecision inside that Villa penalty area, and it's away by Barry. And it'll be Salgado with a throw. Mostovoy. Salgado again likes to get forward from right back. We've seen evidence of that in the opening half an hour. Another throw then for Celta. Crowd somewhat hushed, but we do get good support here. Makaleli, Carpin. That's typical Villa, really. There was nowhere for Makaleli to go.
Well, they've done well. They're working in groups of 3s and 4s, closing the ball down, Kevin, and I mean, you can't fault them. Their work rate's been superb. I just hope they don't run out of steam at some stage.
Jossima, now Revivo. Mazzinho. Jossima showed too much of that to Draper. Away by Charles. And given away by Mazzinho to Collymore. Nice turn from Stan Collymore. Looks to find Joachim. Well policed though by Jossima, who was back there. Mazinho. Revivo. Familiar pattern at the moment. It's come and see if you can hurt us, really, from Villa. But I just wouldn't like to see them defending too deeply. Here's Salgado. Again, though, a wall of claret and blue shirts across their penalty area there. Oh, and just for a moment, though, Mostovoy turned beyond big Ugo Ehiog there. But again, an important touch in there from a Villa player.
I think he was just caught on the wrong side, actually, Kevin, and Mostovoy used his body very well. You can see here he's caught wrong side and manages to turn him. But again, look at the cover play, tremendous, and everybody works for each other. One misses a challenge, the next one's in, and it was Gareth Southgate who managed to get in there.
Collymore, good leap. Jossima, though, will win a throw for Celta Vigo. Their best start, incidentally, to a Spanish season for 49 years. And how fitting that Aston Villa should be their opponents tonight. Their best start to an English League season for 55 years. So, tells you something about the form that these two have shown. But Villa have been the better side so far, possibly with less possession now, with Celta having had plenty of the ball in the last 10 minutes or so. But the first 10-15 minutes from Villa was exemplary, really. Really went for the scruff of the neck and weren't prepared to be fazed by Celta Vigo at all. Pensive, I think, is the word for that bench.
Well, they won't be happy because they haven't created any clear-cut chances. They know that they're a goal down away from home. Really, they need to score 2 or 3 goals to give themselves a chance for the second leg. So the pressure's all on Celta de Vigo. Aston Villa can afford to absorb the pressure and play on the counter-attack. And if Julian Joachim can get him on the shoulder, get himself on the shoulder of the last defender with his pace, they've got chances to score more.
Well, there's John Gregory, eyebrows raised when he came back to Aston Villa last February. He'd previously, of course, been number 2 to Brian Little when they looked for a spell, Jerry, to be producing a quality Aston Villa side, but I think then one or two foreigners came in. It didn't quite work out for them.
That's right, they went off the rails temporarily, but as soon as John came back, I mean, his record in the Premier League, or the Premier League, is actually, I don't think there's anyone, even Alex Ferguson's got a better record than him. So, I mean, he can be proud of his start, certainly, as a manager in the Premiership.
I had to smile, though, with that comment in our build-up to the live match, exclusive on Eurosport from the Balaídos Stadium tonight, when he said if he won all 4 competitions they're entering this season, he was going to retire to the south of France.
I'd have to agree with him on that. I think he would sit and lull in the glory.
Nothing else to do. Now, here's Mostovoy, decent run from the Russian, but, well, a little profligate in the finishing, but the build-up was nice.
Clever little play. You can see he's just going to stick it through the legs, and then his shot, he's gone for too much power and forgot about hitting the target, and he stuck it through the legs of Gareth Barry.
Welcome to European football, Gareth.
Well, he's still a young boy and he's done so well. He's been exceptionally good. He's been cool, he's been calm under pressure. Good passer of the ball. I mean, what more can you say about the boy?
Here's Makaleli. Gangling style of his, but it can be effective. But again, Villa clear the lines. But how heartening to see an English central defender who is comfortable on the ball and has that little bit of extra time, always the sign of a quality player, of course. And he can go on to achieve so much, really, all things being equal. But John Gregory, I'm sure, will be aware, as Celta have won a corner. Oakes was looking to try and keep it in, and did keep it in.
I thought he kept it in as well.
No doubt about it. Oh, what a strange decision from the referee's assistant. It's Mostovoy's corner, and it's away by Ricardo Shamika. But Villa will be aware, just like Liverpool with Michael Owen, that at the precocious age of 17, they'll just need to keep a comforting arm around the shoulder of Gareth Barry. Another good corner played in by Mostovoy. but in the end it flies well wide of Michael Oakes' goal. They are enjoying some decent possession, Celta.
Yes, but it's turning them into goal-scoring chances, Kevin, and they haven't really done that to any great extent. 2 or 3 decent corner kicks into the near post, but again, good defending from Aston Villa, and they've done that exceptionally well so far this season.
Challenge there by Joachim on Mazinho. Illegal, says the referee from Turkey, Mr. Savan.
I'm not sure about that. I thought he used his body very, very well, got his body in line with the ball and won it cleanly.
Beginning to think the old-fashioned shoulder charge has gone out of the game. Here's Salgado. This is Makaleli. Mostovoy. No way through, so Celta try again with Josema. Crowd getting somewhat impatient with the slow build-up of Celta. And nice turn here by Joachim. Oh, wonderful. Brilliant from Julian Joachim until he runs into the giant frame of the Yugoslav Jorovic. But wasn't that positive from Julian Joachim?
Absolutely, and again on the counter-attack, it was just one defender too many. But he showed that explosive pace we were talking about earlier, Kevin. And as I say, if he can get himself one-on-one with the last defender, you can expect him to create more chances.
Julian Joachim, you know, he has to feel a little disappointed after his excellent start to the season when he was rattling in a few goals for Aston Villa, but lost his place when Paul Merson came in. Oh, that's good chance here for Gary Charles, who just suddenly popped up in acres of space, and really it was a fullback's finish.
That's why he's playing at fullback. You can see again his first touch actually wasn't too good, and he's tried to rip the net out, and there's the first touch which let him down, and he hasn't got anywhere near the target there. But tremendous play on the counter-attack. He supported the front people well, and the change of play was very good also.
Just a reminder, we've got a roundup of some of the highlights from the UEFA Cup matches being played around Europe straight after our live match here in northwest Spain. And amongst the games you'll see Willem II of Holland against the Spaniards Real Betis, Liverpool against another Spanish club Valencia at Anfield, and also highlights of Dynamo Moscow against Real Sociedad of Spain. So it's quite a Spanish fiesta we're having on Eurosport this evening. So the most comprehensive roundup of all the highlights from this latest round of matches in the UEFA Cup. Another corner to Celta Vigo, searching diligently for this equaliser. Oh, and a chance just for the first time. The marking not very good on Carpine from Mostovoy's latest corner, and they were a shade fortunate to get away with that.
That's actually the first corner they've put deep to the far post. The previous 3 corners have been near post, and I think they get caught out on that, and he's completely unmarked, and they're looking around saying who was picking him up.
Carpine this time with a corner, away by Ehiog, and the referee says there was an arm up there as the goalkeeper Michael Oakes was coming to get something on the end of that. We'll see it again.
I think it's a push and Stan Collymore who actually won it, and again there was pressure on the goalkeeper, but good defending once again. Collymore
again in competition airily with Jorovic. Interesting battle between those two. Throw in goes to Celta. Josema. So far so good, the marking on that prolific scorer Penev, who may be coming to the twilight years of his career now, but is still more than useful. He scored 3 here against the Romanians of Arges Vitesti in a 7-0 win I alluded to earlier. So he still knows where the old onion bag is, but hasn't really had a sniff at goals so far.
No, he's relying on crosses, and he hasn't had any, to be fair. There's not been any decent balls put into him. He's not as mobile, but he's got a good left foot, and he's excellent in the air if the crosses are good.
That's the voice of Jerry Armstrong, the former Northern Ireland international, alongside me, Kevin Keatings. We're here live inside the Balaídos Stadium, the northwest tip of Spain, and Aston Villa are enjoying themselves at the moment and frustrating the home side. Makelele just trying to turn beyond Barry, who stood up firm, shows his frustration. Claude Makelele, who's 25, full of tricks, but just see how Barry lent on him there. He might only be 17, but he's learning the art already.
Very experienced head on young shoulders, I think, is what we're looking at. And he's defied everybody, really. He's surprised everyone, and that's one of the reasons why I think he got the call up for the England squad for experience, because they look to the future, and I think the boy's got a very bright future.
I was talking to Ray Clements, actually, of course, in Glenn Hoddle's coaching lineup at the moment, and he was telling me how Gareth Barry came in, and very much like Michael Owen did when they called him up some time ago, and said that he looked completely at home on and off the training field, which can only augur well. Challenge there by Collymore.
Well, it was shirt pulling, yeah.
Well, a yellow card for shirt pulling, and no yellow card for an ex-certificate from Gary Charles earlier.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was a yellow card offence, that, by Collymore.
Bit silly, isn't it? You can see here clearly he's just got a hold of his shorts and pulled them back, and I think the referee had no option, did he?
This is Salgado, or in fact it's Carpine looking for Salgado, who's well advanced here, but not a single Celta player looking to put pressure on Villa there. That won't please their coach Fernandes. Jossima. Mostovoy. Now a chance here. Still opportunities as the challenge comes in by Ehiog. And he just went to ground there, and for a moment Celta were seeking a penalty, but thankfully there was no meaningful contact. The crowd getting rather upset with the referee, but well, I think they're just showing their frustration, really. I think there were some meaningful attempts to regain possession there by Villa, but I don't think they want Ugo Ehiog going to ground quite so early as he did there. I think they were appealing for a penalty, weren't they?
The ball's hit his hand, his arm, but he didn't handle the ball. He had his back turned to it. You can see he stumbled, fallen over, and they're appealing for a handball. That's not intentional. There's no way that's a handball. It's not a penalty kick.
Well, I've seen them given, I suppose, but
so have I.
I'd go along with you. I'd go along with you, Jerry. I really just don't think he knew where the ball was, but it did make clear contact with Ugo Ehiog's arm. Now here's Penev. Now Mostovoy. Shooting opportunity maybe. Here now. Ooh, right across the face of that goal. And Michael Oakes happy to see it fly wide, but they were queuing up for a moment.
I think with a couple of minutes to go, John Gregg would be happy to get them in at half-time to reorganise again, because in the last few minutes there's just been a few little loose balls bouncing around the 6-yard box, and the pressure's just starting to tell. I think they could do with a little break now, so hang on for another 2 or 3 minutes and get yourself reorganised in the second half.
Carpine's shot. But we've seen very little of Aston Villa apart from that half chance for Gary Charles a few minutes ago as an attacking force, but they're more than happy at the moment with the away goal scored by Julian Joachim after 15 minutes. A good goal it was too, set up by Collymore and expertly finished by Joachim. Whistles, and that's music to Villa's ears as they play keep ball towards half-time. It's good, sensible, experienced play by the English side. Gareth Barry, though, has given it away cheaply. Now it's with Makelele. Looking for a cross. Well, it was a case of Michael Oakes, I think, having his near post covered there. Now, did he get a touch? He looks just for a moment to see if the referee's given anything to Celta.
I don't think he did, Kevin. I don't think he did. I think it actually hit the side netting here. We'll just see. It was nipping round. Yeah, it hit the inside, the outside of the post, and it's a goal kick.
Just 1 minute then of stoppage time away from Villa holding a very creditable half-time lead. And the referee actually has brought an end to the first half, and again he's on the wrong side of the crowd, because the board was held up for a minute and we had about, what, 6 seconds?
Yes, well, Mourinho's going to have a complaint and have a moan, because obviously they're 1-0 down, the crowd are going to get at them, but that's to Aston Villa's advantage. The longer it stays like that, the more they complain, the better it is, certainly for Aston Villa.
So far so good then, Jerry, as Josima is having words still with the referee about that challenge from Gary Charles. But it has been a wonderful half. We'll hear more from Jerry Armstrong in the second half. But Julian Joachim's goal separates them at half-time. Exclusive, live on Eurosport, the second half to come. Stay with us. Welcome back from Kevin Keatings to the Balaidos Stadium. Plenty of food for thought for those Celta Vigo fans, but the Aston Villa fans inside this stadium delighted with the only goal of the first half, and we'll see it again, set up by the revitalised Stan Collymore. And there was Julian Joachim firing in through the legs of the French goalkeeper Dutroux to plunder what could be a vital goal in this second round tie against the Spaniards. The Villa fans celebrated in some style, and it leads us to believe that Villa can come away with a terrific result. 1 or 2 moments of worry towards half-time, plenty of possession for Celta Vigo, but apart from a free kick whipped just over the top of the crossbar, Oaks hasn't had to make too many saves. Back for the second half, live and exclusive, next.
Back live to Eurocups with Active Driving, Active Safety, Subaru.
Welcome back to the Balaidos Stadium here in Vigo, where Celta of the Primera Liga in Spain trail Aston Villa, the league leaders in the English Premier League, by 1-0, scored, as you saw just a few minutes ago, by Julian Joachim after a fine setup by Stan Collymore. Alongside me, watching on in very interestingly indeed, is Jerry Armstrong, who played a couple of seasons in Spain with Mallorca back in the mid-80s. And Stan Collymore, as we take a look at the Villa fans, who'll be well happy with the first half. Here's the goal again, but he looks a revitalised player again, Jerry.
Well, he's shown speed, he's shown strength, he's created the opportunity for Julian Joachim, which, you know, we said earlier, funny enough, that the partnership might be a good partnership. What was it, little and large there, looking at it, you know, the height and strength of Stan and the pace of Julian Joachim. But Stan himself showed tremendous skill when he turned on the halfway line. He showed tremendous pace and strength to get away from the defenders. Committed the last defender before he slotted the ball into Julian Joachim, and then the defender tries to pull him back. You can see him pulling his shirt, but he kept his cool and he slotted underneath the legs of the advancing Dutroux, the French goalkeeper.
We again, though, have to consider, as we talked about earlier, the players that are missing tonight. Alan Thompson, who's been a revelation this season. Ian Taylor, who always does a good job in there. And Paul Merson, of course, who's ineligible.
Well, I mean, the good news for Aston Villa fans and for John Gregory is that they haven't missed them so far. And as I said earlier, I hope it stays that way. They really seem up for it. I'm just looking to see if Revivo's going to come out. He's not. Just as I said, Sanchez is going to come on.
Sanchez on then, Revivo off. Revivo was, as I said in first half commentary, a big doubt for the game with a groin injury. He's going to have an operation on that, the Israeli. Sanchez is a decent goal scorer, Jerry.
Yes, he scored on Saturday, but he doesn't get that many opportunities with Revivo and Mostovoy and Penev. But I think the gamble of playing Jaime Revivo in the first half has not worked, and obviously the manager's made, Fernandez has made the change straight away. He's brought Sanchez on. You won't be surprised to hear that Aston Villa haven't made any substitutions. Just a reminder that on the bench this evening they have Darius Vassell, the young striker, Fabio Ferrarese, the Italian midfielder, just a teenager as well, David Hughes, the defender, Simon Grayson, and what do we call him? He can play just about anywhere, Simon, and Adam Rachel is the substitute goalkeeper. Actually, looking at it, I think Makaleli is going to go wide left, and Penev's not going to be on his own up front now. I think Sanchez is going to go up front with him, and we can see in the first 10-15 minutes I expect him to put a lot of pressure on the Aston Villa side. So Stan Collymore and Julian Joachim either side of the ball. The referee
Mr. Savan from Turkey. There's John Gregory. He looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he?
He's got reason to be relaxed as well. They've played exceptionally well, and so far it's been a very good venture into Europe and Spain, certainly.
Gregory's most demanding test of the season, passed with flying colours so far. One or two moments of worry towards the end of the first half, but the nearest they came really was that Mostovoy free kick, and Michael Oakes hasn't had any real direct saves to make. Here's Collymore. A run on now, and here is Sanchez getting his first touch. Well policed though by Southgate at the expense of a Celta throw. Looks as though he's got a bit of pace too.
I think he's given the free kick. Actually, the linesman looked like he flagged for a little shove there from Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, free kick to Celta, and it's going to be the inevitable Mostovoy to deliver. Villa defence pushing up, allowing a little bit of space for Michael Oakes. At the arc of the free kick from Mostovoy, rather undid some useful movement in and around that penalty area by Celta. This is Mazinho, their skipper, the Brazilian. Here's Mostovoy trying to make up the ground, but always asked too much of the Russian.
As in the first half, Kevin, the service into the box has been poor, and I think that's one of the things that's let Celta down in this game, certainly.
Josimar looks rather unsure when he's in possession of the ball, the left back. Gary Charles, who was, we think, pretty fortunate to stay on the field after that horrific over-the-top challenge, and most unlike Gary Charles really. He's a lovely young fellow really, and it was uncharacteristic. Villa getting the benefit also of a decision in the first half where Ugo Ehiog's arm struck the ball inside the Villa penalty area, but we thought he wasn't quite sure where the ball was, and it was unintentional. But as we said at the time, as Gary Charles having a little tete-a-tete there with Mostovoy, but as we said at the time, it was not intentional, but we have seen them given. Little nudge there by Mostovoy on Charles.
I think there's no doubt it was a free kick. You're talking about challenges. I've actually just remembered that I saw the challenge here of Juninho when he got his ankle broken. It was actually here against Celta de Vigo, and that was a pretty horrific one. Thankfully, Josimar was a lot more fortunate than Juninho was on that day.
Of course, we have to remind ourselves it was Gary Charles who was on the end of a nasty challenge himself in that Wembley game involving Paul Gascoigne. Here now is Carpin. Salgado. Carpin again. Good challenge there by Gareth Southgate. Ball is whipped in and it's away by Ugo Ehiog, who tracked back well and saw the impending danger. Little Lee Hendry there working like a beaver at the heart of that midfield, and how much longer will Glenn Hoddle be able to ignore his claims for a call up to the full England squad? He's a little limp in there. There's the clearing challenge by Ugo Ehiog. This is Draper. Collymore though rather rocky on his heels, and Caceres was in quickly. Carpin. Mostovoy. The challenge comes in again. It was a good one. When they're going to appeal for everything, this crowd.
That's what I'm worried about, Kevin. They are going to appeal for everything, and hopefully the referee's going to hold firm.
Salgado to Carpin. Chance here now. Oh, and not offside against Penef. Mostovoy's shot. Now, did it take a deflection? No, the flag's gone up anyway, and some respite for Villa.
Just a very unsettling 60 seconds for Aston Villa. And you're right, the crowd are really starting to stir now. They're really calling for everything, and they're appealing for... I mean, Penev's gone down very quickly, but Ekiog's got to be very careful, because the referee might fall foul to the crowds and the chants from the fans and give the penalty kick, so he's got to stay on his feet.
Well, he got something of the ball, Ugo Ekiog, but thankfully the referee was positioned well enough to see that he did meet ball before Penev. Mostovoy, Mazinho, Salgado, shot coming in there from Sanchez, but well seen by Michael Oakes. Now, has a corner been given?
It looks like he's given it, and I'm not sure that one was out either. Did he keep it in?
Oh,
yeah, it's well in.
Well, that was exactly the same as the one in the first half. That was in by a good 6-9 inches at least. Well, some dubious decisions from the referee's assistants. One in each half now. And let's hope that Villa don't succumb to an equaliser here. It would be really unfortunate if they do. It's a decent cross in, away by Barry. Carpin. Oh, snap volley there by Sanchez, and finishes well wide, but he's looked sharp coming off the bench.
Yes, he's looking to create an impression again. He's got his goal on Sunday, and I think it is a snapshot, but it's well wide, and it's Carpin's delivery in from the right hand side, volley, and that's well off the target.
Well, he got 9 goals in 31 games last season. That might not seem to be a pretty good record by English standards, but Jerry Armstrong was telling me that by Spanish records, it's not a bad goal return, really.
It's not bad at all. It's not bad. I don't think a lot of them were from starting position. I think he came on as a substitute for quite a few of those games.
You don't get 30, 35 goals a season in Spanish football.
Not unless you're Ronaldo.
Here's Josima looking for Makaleli, but Charles in the way. Next 10 minutes you just feel is vital for Villa, as they come fired from the dressing room at half-time. Victor Fernandez, the Celta coach, has clearly had some pretty harsh words with his side. He wants them to be more creative than they have been, with a lot of possession, but you really have to give credit to a very professional performance from Aston Villa. Now Joachim, Collymore's header, and he goes down at a challenge from Zinho.
Again, good play from the front two, standing in the air, flicking the ball on, and Julian's pace on the end of it, and he's won himself a free kick, and it gives the defence a little bit of a respite. And you can see it's actually Mazinho who's actually fouled him, but it gives him a little breather, it gives him a break, lets him get reorganised and push forward a little bit.
Mark Draper with a free kick. But when you consider how well Villa by and large have defended tonight, it was amazing that they conceded the same amount of goals against part-timers from Norway in one match than they have in 9 games in the English Premier League. Simply doesn't add up, that, but they had a bit of an off night against Stromsgodset until a couple of late goals from Darius Vassell off the bench, the teenager, gave them a 3-2 win, and an easy take for Dutruel. A decent early throw, but too much on it, and again Villa with Ekiog clearing the lines once more.
I'm just wondering what the booking for Mark Draper was. Was it because he didn't take the kick quick enough, or what was it for?
Could only have been that, really. Needless booking, though, really. You can ill afford bookings, of course, in the European club competitions. A couple of them, of course, bring a red card over 2 games, which has kept out the likes of Alan Thompson and Ian Taylor tonight, booked in both legs against the Norwegians. Here's Salgado. Hendry in quickly, though. Looks as though he's just come out of a creche, doesn't he, Lee Hendry? Salgado's throw. Oh, good run here now by Mostovoy. Trying to link with Makaleli. Salgado, decent crossing position, stabbed away. Possibilities here, and fired just over. Well, they are beginning to get 1 or 2 yards of space in that Villa penalty area. Mostovoy close again.
Well, there's no doubt they've turned on the pressure in the second half. The delivery in from the right hand side, it's a missed clearance, it's fallen to Mostovoy, and it's a snapshot, it's just gone over the crossbar. But you're right, they're really getting closer and closer. Villa have got to just keep the pressure on, not let them settle on the ball, and do what they did well in the first 45 minutes.
A very intelligent player, Mostovoy, though. He knows how to win space, doesn't he?
Russian international, has been around a long time, played for a lot of clubs. He knows exactly what he needs to do. But so far, Aston Villa haven't got too many complaints. They've done exceptionally well. But if they can keep it like this, then it's going to be a tremendous evening for them.
Julian Jobsham's pace could still threaten Celta Vigo in this game, though. There's the respective coaches on the touchline there, hoping to impart some words of wisdom to the assembled players out there. Victor Fernandez of Celta and John Gregory, the man of the moment really in English football. Penev to Mostovoy. Now it's with Salgado. Getting on the outside of Alan Wright for just a moment. Still Salgado. Strong. Good play by the fullback, and he's won a corner, but equally good play there by Wright.
Well, Wright's done exceptionally well there to stick with Salgado. Salgado's really pushed on in the last 10 minutes, and he's looking to get to the byline, but Alan Wright stuck to the task. He's turned and twisted, and eventually he's got the challenge in and blocked it for a corner kick.
Mostovoy with that corner then. Plenty up for Celta. A couple looking to come in late, but Mostovoy didn't get the depth he was looking for.
Again, that final ball in's let them down, Kevin, you know, and long may it last.
Mostovoy then to his fellow Russian, Karpin. Badly delivered though by Karpin. Again, that final ball, Charles. Throw quickly taken though by Celta. Here's Makaleli. Hendry in. Can't win the second challenge though. Away by Southgate, doesn't clear too far though, but there's young Barry with the more proficient header. Salgado raiding again. Karpin. Two to hit. And in the end, rather, Mostovoy and Makaleli got in one another's way there. Now they just need Collymore and Joachim to get hold of the ball a little bit at the moment. It's coming straight back.
Well, I think they need to string some passes. They need to put their foot on the ball. They need somebody like Mazinho in the middle of the park who can get the ball down and control the play and take the sting out of the game for a little bit, because they're getting under a lot more pressure. And you're right, they need to reorganise and start from scratch.
John Gregory has Simon Grayson at his disposal. He'd be the most likely substitute to come on to add his experience to this Villa side if Gregory wants to change anything, but I'm not suggesting that's anywhere near on his mind at the moment. But towards, as the second half goes on, as Jerry Armstrong was saying in first half commentary, they've worked very hard, Aston Villa, tonight, and one or two tired legs might creep in.
I expect substitutions in the last 15-20 minutes, Kevin. I think some of them have worked so hard that they're bound to tire at some stage, and I think John will be aware of that, and he'll make the substitutions when he knows they're necessary.
Amongst the Celta substitutes, incidentally, the former Celtic player Jorge Cadete, the Portuguese player, and Karpin looking to threaten, but away by the reliable Gareth Southgate. Jorovic to Josima. Freedom for the fullback to come forward. This is Penev. Coming deep, really, trying to get himself into the game here. As the cross comes in from Salgado, and away by Southgate. Well, the crowd do get excited early here. As soon as players go forward, there's a real roar of noise from the crowd almost before the cross came in.
I saw the overlap from Salgado, and once the ball was played in, but tremendous defending from Gareth Southgate. I mean, that was a goal-saving challenge, because if he doesn't make this one, and there's a crossing again, if he doesn't make this one, it's a certain goal.
Corner, and the flicked header off Caceres, and away by Southgate again. Joachim gives chase. We're not seeing really any of the ball at the moment, Joachim and Collymore. And there's a real measure of control on this game from the Spaniards, but still can't find a way through, although they are really beginning to threaten. And the crowd can sense it. Here's Makaleli looking for Carpin. Barry in the way though, and he'll settle for the goal kick. Just a reminder, we've got highlights of the UEFA Cup tonight, straight after our live and exclusive game here in the Balaídos Stadium in northwest Spain on Eurosport. And amongst the games you can see, we're going to have quite a Spanish lineup to it. Willem II of Holland against Real Betis, Liverpool against Valencia from Anfield, and Dynamo Moscow against Real Sociedad. As challenge comes in there in midfield, and the referee is going to give a free kick, I think, and one or two of the players not happy with the decision, but player gone down inside the centre circle. Again, the crowd unhappy that a yellow card's not been proffered, but they are quite an intimidating crowd, aren't they, as Mazinho went down.
I know Shamika's made contact, but it wasn't that bad contact, and again Mazinho's gone down as if he's been poleaxed, and the crowd's reacted to that, and it's going to be a really long half hour for the Villa fans and the Villa players now.
Away by Southgate. We're just hoping that Mr. Saban, our Turkish referee, doesn't become a homer by the end of this one.
And even as we talk, the substitutes are warming up, and it looks like the Thomas is going to come on, I think, down below. Yes, there he is in picture. He looks like he's going to come on for Celta Vigo, Kevin.
Salgado seen plenty of the ball. He's a danger and a threat down this right hand side. This is Carpin. Can only find Lee Hendry though, but he'll get a throw as Thomas waits patiently to come on. This is Peneth. Josimar. Bad ball though. He's not had the best of games tonight, the left back. Here's Carpin though, and Peneth got that one all wrong. He just got his feet mixed up there, the big man.
Josimar's not used to playing that far forward. As I said, he's more of a defender than anything else, and I'm wondering if they're going to take Peneth off. Is that who it's going to be?
Well, Thomas is on.
So is Peneth, he's still on.
And it's Josimar, I think, the player who's come off. As Joachim looking to get forward now. Oh, and he just lost his footing at a crucial moment there, because little Julian Joachim actually out-jumped Caceres there. And I'm not at all surprised that Josimar's gone off. Salgado. They've just taken the sting a little bit out of Celta Vigo now, and they need to do that for 5 minutes or so really, and just settle Aston Villa. But they have been diligent in their defending. Once or twice there's been some really important interceptions, not least that one from Gareth Southgate a couple of minutes ago.
I think we're going to see wave after wave of attacks from Celta Vigo in this last 25 minutes, Kevin, and hopefully Aston Villa can hold firm and not dive in and make any silly mistakes.
This is Caceres. Now, don't allow too much space. Aston Villa, and again, like bees around a honeypot there. No way through once again for the Spaniards. But again, the ball's given away pretty cheaply.
It is, and they've no outlet really. I mean, they're looking for one of the two front men there to hit, and that's just, that challenge there. He was clear, and he's lost his footing just at the vital second.
He's still a handful though on occasions, Joachim, and those Celta Vigo defenders know it.
Well, it's like we said, him playing off the last defender, off the shoulder of the last defender, and there's a prime example of that. But they'll get other chances like that in the last 25 minutes of the game, but they've got to keep it tight and not give anything away. It's Jorovic. This is Makaleli. Good work though by Draper. He's done that a number of times tonight, Mark Draper. Again though, the ball is back with Celta. As Makaleli's got space to turn now and run at Ugo Ehiog.
Away by Southgate. Salgado. And the corner conceded by Gareth Barry. So more pressure on Michael Oakes' goal. That's the substitute Sanchez, who came on at half-time for the Israeli Revivo. Reminder, our roundup, 23:35 Central European time on Eurosport. We've got all the best action from around the UEFA Cup tonight and tomorrow evening on Eurosport. Oakes comes, rather flaps at that one. That wasn't very positive goalkeeping. Ugo Ehiog, that giant frame in the way to the rescue of Villa though, but Oakes wouldn't be happy with his flap there. Carpine. Mostovoy. 11:15 roundup tonight, just to qualify that. 11:15 for our roundup of top UEFA Cup action here on Eurosport. Kevin Keatings and Jerry Armstrong, the former Northern Ireland international, your commentary team, live and exclusive on Eurosport. We're in the Balaídos Stadium in northwest Spain, where the crowd just in front of our commentary position have been up and down like yo-yos for most of the game, largely berating the referee. But this is exactly where Villa want to see possession for Celta Vigo at the moment. They'll be happy to see them play keep ball all night, but now they get it forward with some purpose. Cross is really difficult one for Makaleli as the shot comes flying in from Mostovoy. He is the threat in there. Or was it Mostovoy who got the shot in, or was it Thomas? It might well have been Thomas, the recent substitution.
Yeah, it looks like Thomas, but what tremendous skill from Makaleli. The first touch was magnificent, and then he's just teed it up for Thomas to come and strike. There's the skill, and there's the strike, and it's just gone inches past the far post. And again, anxious moments for Aston Villa.
So one of the best volleyed goals I've seen for many a year. Muzzy is it for Leicester City in their English Premier League game last night. The winner very late on against George Graham's Tottenham, his first official game in charge of Spurs. But what a goal that was from Is It. We're going to see that a few more times. Already a contender for goal of the season.
I was going to say, Kevin, Martin O'Neill would definitely agree with you on that as well.
What a way to go, if he is to go. Villa still holding on from Joachim's goal. And I would think it's about 95% possession for Celta Vigo at the moment. And you could see the beads of sweat on Alan Wright's forehead there, just emphasising the work rate that Villa are having to put in here.
It's nothing less than we expected, to be honest, Kevin. You know, we knew they were going to come out with all guns blazing in the second half. They had to weather the storm, and maybe they have done that because you know, it's 22 minutes. They're halfway through the second half, and they've got to be happy with the performance so far. They've maybe rode their luck once or twice, but let's see, can they keep it going for another 20 minutes or so?
Good header won by Carpine. Could have fall here now. Shooting opportunity maybe. Celta get it wide, and in the end it's blasted comfortably wide from Thomas, but he looks as though he's taking quite a wide position and trying to stretch Villa.
He's not a left back, he's actually a left-sided midfield player come striker, and a wing back even, and thankfully his shooting boots are not on tonight. He's been teed up twice now and he hasn't hit the target. That was even further away than the first one. But again, anxious moments because they're just starting to turn the screws. And what you said earlier about the defence dropping a little bit deeper, they're starting to do that, which is frightening because they're not getting enough possession now.
Running the midfield, hardly mentioned, if indeed mentioned, the name of Shamika once in this second half, and again bypassing largely Henry and Draper at the moment. There's a foul there on Collymore. There's a case of GBH that.
John Gregg was on the track after that one because he's come through the back of Collymore. Clefairy's that's the third time tonight.
Whistles again because the crowd suggesting that Gareth Barry is wasting time from this free kick. Eventually looks for Collymore. Once again, offside this time against Collymore. Clearly you can see from that angle a good couple of yards off. There'll be just a little bit of concern going through John Gregory's mind at the moment, but equally he'll look at the clock and see there's only 20 minutes to go, and they still lead by a 1-0. I would think he's possibly thinking about Simon Grayson, maybe fresh pair of legs just to sit in front of that back three.
Yeah, but who does he take off then, Kevin? That's the question. Does he take one of the forwards off and gamble and try and ride the pressure out of over the last 15-20 minutes? So that's probably what's going through his mind at the moment, and I can still see some of the Villa players are just running on the track down the side here, so he's keeping them taking over.
There's a foul there on Salgado by Joachim. Mostovoy with a free kick. Two-man wall. Draper and Hendry. As Mostovoy plays the ball through, a chance here. Oh, just good defending again by Villa, as a player looked to be just running off the shoulder of that Villa defence, but two players got in very quickly to deny the shot. Still pressure on though. Here's Calpine. Again, Gareth Southgate in the way. This is Mazinho to Makaleli. Thomas. And the header flies, well, about a couple of yards over the top in the end from Sanchez. And Villa still keep a clean sheet. It was Sanchez who tried to get the initial shot in there, but a combination of Gareth Barry and Gareth Southgate.
Yes, it's actually good defending. Gareth Barry stayed on his feet, and again the cover coming round the back was Southgate, who managed to scramble the ball away. And this whipped in cross, you can see the challenge from Southgate, and he's done enough to make Sanchez put the ball wide of the target.
Here's Shamika now getting a rare touch. Now Collymore worked hard though, Ricardo Shamika. Let me not tell any untruths here. He's worked just as hard as anybody in that midfield, as of Draper and Hendry. It's just that they haven't really seen much of the ball, because they are a good side in possession, Celta Vigo, but from their point of view the Spaniards have not been able to find that real cutting edge they've been looking for in the final third.
I think for me that's been the feature of the game, the hard work of every player. You're talking about Ricardo Shamika. He's actually worked his socks off, as you say, along with Draper and everybody else. But the feature for me of the Villa players is how hard they work for each other collectively.
So exactly that in Leicester City in their win against Tottenham. It was the ethic that Martin O'Neill had woven into that Leicester City lineup. It's going to be very interesting to see if Martin does leave Leicester, how that squad adapt to that. But even if they believed he was going to leave last night, he wouldn't have known it from their performance. It was typical Leicester. And it's typical Villa, and they still hold on to a lead. It's 17 minutes to go. Wonderful if they could pinch a second, if we can get greedy for a moment. But here's Salgado. Oh, nice little dummy chance here. Real opportunity, and a great block there by Ehio. Well, they were queuing up. After you.
Well,
no, after you.
I've never seen three players dummy a ball like that before, and it's gone all the way into the penalty area, and eventually, again, the defenders have got in line and blocked it for the corner kick.
Carpine shot blocked. Here's Penev. Chance here. And again, the space, and Oaks is down to save. Well, the marking, you have to say, on that occasion from Villa wasn't good, but it was a tame shot in the end, and it was a rather routine stop for Oaks. It was a decision gone against Celta anyway. Perhaps it wouldn't have counted.
Again, though, Kevin, they're going deeper and deeper into their penalty area. Look where they're defending. They're on the edge of their own 6-yard box. They've got to push them out onto the edge of the 18-yard box. If they're going to have long-range shots from 20-25 yards, it gives Michael Oakes a chance. But from that range, he's going to be unsighted, and they're not giving themselves a chance.
Challenge there by Joachim, and then by Collymore. Mazinho is wanting a yellow card, and Collymore is saying calm down to the Brazilian. Well, he's not a happy bunny at the moment.
He's very animated, as I say, he drops it. He falls at the drop of a hat, and he's just gone down there very quickly.
Yeah, it's just missed time by Collymore, but here comes Celta again. Wave after wave of attacks. It's Makaleli. Salgado is clearly offside. But you have to say, without any disrespect to Aston Villa, that the pressure, probably you would say that Celta just about deserve an equaliser at the moment. We're glad that it's still 1-0 for Villa, but you know, how much longer can they survive this pressure?
Yes, I agree with you, Kevin, but again, if they pushed up an extra 5 yards, they'll catch people like Carpine offside a lot more readily, and this is one of the reasons, if they can get themselves up the edge of the 18-yard box, they'll give themselves a better chance.
Away by Southgate. What a decent performance here from Leeds United. Roma 1, Leeds 0. I think David O'Leary will settle for that. Never an easy place to go in the Olympic Stadium against an Italian Serie A side, and that's not a bad result for Leeds.
That's a very creditable result. They know they can work off that. They get themselves back into the game, an early goal at Ellen Road, and they've got a chance of winning it, and here's a chance here as well. No, he's offside.
Offside against Joachim. And talking of the Olympic Stadium in Rome, Jerry Armstrong and I will be there on Thursday night to bring live coverage of Lazio, who've assembled the most expensive squad in football history, some £70 million. The likes of Salas and Vieri, although Vieri's injured at the moment, but De La Peña and Almeida, the Argentinian, not to mention some decent Italians. Celtic being held there by FC Zurich, that won't please the fans in Scotland. 1-1 there in the home leg. But Villa holding on here. And an easy take for Oaks. So don't forget to join us for Lazio against Partizan Belgrade Thursday night. Here's the time for that one. And the kickoff is 8:45 Central European time. Charles and Draper. This is better from Villa now. A few little passes played around. That one might have been a foul there. The play continues. And Villa again defending on the edge of their penalty area. Players coming forward in sky blue shirts in numbers here, but again that giant frame of Ugo Ehiog in the way. Carpine down under a challenge from Lee Hendry, and that was clearly a dive from a player who looks pretty tired at the moment, Valerie Carpine. Collymore, now just keep hold of it, Stan, for a moment. He tries to find Joachim. It's now with Thomas. Mazinho. 13 minutes plus stoppage time away from, well, if they needed a fillip to their season, I'm not so sure they did, Aston Villa, but they'll go home cock-a-hoop if they can hold on here. Good work by Joachim there, putting Jorovic under pressure and winning a throw for Villa.
You can see here, this is a dive from Carpine. I mean, ridiculous. I think the referee should book him for diving, to be honest. But again, a little bit more intelligent play from Aston Villa. They've held the ball a little bit better. They started to push up to the edge of the box, and again, they're starting to come through with Stan Collymore on the ball now.
Runs into a challenge though from Thomas. Great learning experience though for these Aston Villa players. Quite a lot of European experience amongst them, of course, but as each game goes by, you learn something more, learn how to play these away ties, and it's so crucial that you learn how to play them well. Ridden a luck on one or two occasions, but defended very well for the most part. It's a decent cross played in. Carpine's header. Shot coming in from Mosterboy. Well, he does that so well, trying just to pass that ball around Michael Oates and finish, what, about a yard wide at most.
Yes, another good chance, but again, at least they forced them outside the penalty area. The shots come from outside the area, and it's about a foot round the post, and it gives Michael Oates a chance to get a view of the shot.
Real Betis, or Celta Vigo I should say, Real Betis, they beat 3-0 last weekend, are staring down the barrel possibly of their first defeat of the season. Villa's march goes on for the time being. There's untidy challenge there by Mazinho on Joachim, who has been penalised by the referee, and I think Villa will very cannily take their time about this free kick now.
It's actually Clefairy, who's a very clever defender, and he climbed all over him. Knew exactly what he was doing, but at least it's a respite for the players. They get a little bit of breather, they can get themselves reorganised, and maybe they can get something from this free kick now, Kevin.
Well, the Villa fans will go ecstatic inside this stadium if they can plunder a second here. But they didn't throw too many forward, and now here's Carpine on the breakaway. Lee Hendry sticking with him diligently. Oh, it's great work there by Hendry. Magnificent from the youngster. Well, that was terrific from young Lee Hendry.
He's ran 60 yards there, showed tremendous strength, and look at this challenge. Kept his eye on the ball. What a great challenge.
Skill and work rate. If you've got those two commodities, you've got a decent player. Ugo Ehiob now needs to just be a little careful. The last man in there. Under pressure from Sanchez. Mazinho. Sanchez with a turn, but straight into trouble. Collymore needs an outlet ball. Isn't one. Ball played through here. Crossing position is a decent one, but Southgate again, he's been magnificent.
He's been superb. I mean, I know he's the captain, but he's been in the right position at the right time to make the right challenges. Last man gets across and blocks the shot from Sanchez. Tremendous cover play from Gareth Southgate.
There are a few, if any, who read the game better than the England international. As he surveys this latest corner for Celta. We're into the last 10 minutes plus stoppage time. Julian Joachim's goal still separates them. Chance here now, and volleyed over the top. Oh, well, what a chance there for Penev.
Well, he's actually flicked it on from the corner at the near post, and I think it's Sanchez at the back post, as we're just about to say.
You're right.
He puts it over the top.
You're right, Jerry.
But again, you know, great delivery in from Carpine. Lubo Penev, who's good in the air. And that's a golden opportunity. That's their best opportunity for me of the game. Little flick on, back post, and he should do better than that.
Well, Penev just left to sink to his knees, and the look said it all, really. How on earth did Juan Sanchez volley that over the top?
That's why he only got 9 goals last season, Kevin.
So, a little bit of a charmed life then for Aston Villa. But you need your luck along the way to survive in European club competitions. Everyone needs a slice or two along the way.
I think you make your own luck as well, and I think Aston Villa's work rate today has given them this foundation to work off, and they've really got the bit between their teeth, and I'm just hoping for their sake they can hold out to the final whistle.
Well, Celta have found this Aston Villa side a far tougher nut to crack. That's an understatement, really, than the Romanians of Arges Pitesti, who succumbed to 7 goals in the last round of this competition on this ground. 8-0 on aggregate. Celta went through. Another substitution, and Victor Fernandez is getting a little desperate. Carpine, who did look tired, has gone off. And it's the Portuguese Jorge Cadete, the ex-Celtic man, who's come on. It's a very attacking lineup now from Celta.
Well, I think they've gambled everything, haven't they now, Kevin? They've thrown everything forward, and I think we're going to be in for an interesting 6 or 7 minutes.
Thomas to Mostovoy, who's been one of the better players for the Spanish side tonight. Broken up again, though, by Villa. Joachim just tried to find a way through a narrow gap, didn't quite come off. Shooting opportunity, and skimmed well wide in the end from Penev.
He has got a great left foot. He was quite a way out, but I think that was about 2 or 3 feet past the post. And in one way, it could be good for Villa, because they've pushed so many players forward that on the counter-attack they could actually get themselves a second goal if they played right.
Just over 6 minutes away then from a glorious win in Europe. Still work to do, of course, in the second leg, but in front of a full house at Villa Park. Noise levels will be pretty deafening that night for sure. Celta Vigo will be up against it, but still they have to remain as focused as they have been for most of the night. Aston Villa. Salgado gets a cross in, that was well seen by Michael Oakes. Won't he be happy with a clean sheet if that's the way it's going to be, with Mark Bosnich looking on, currently injured, the Villa number 1. Collymore, strong and aggressive up against Caceres, but it'll be a throw to Celta. You have to feel that the likes of Thompson and Taylor will come back in for the next Premier League game, but you look at people like Mark Draper, who's done a good job, Shamika really a centre-back, but coming in and doing a decent holding job in midfield as well there, but all the players, as we said earlier, have come in and have done a great job for John Gregory.
I don't think you can win championships and trophies and cups without more than the 11 players. You need squads, and the squads come in today. The result looks like it's going to be the same, different personnel in, but you know, they've all done their job. They're all very organised, very professional, and John Gregory must be sitting on a seat wondering, you know, this is great. If this is football managed, I'll have it all the time. I mean, it's been superb.
Different personnel, but same old story. What a roll they're on at the moment, Aston Villa. There's a foul there, though, conceded in a pretty advanced position where Mostovoy is spotting this one up for Celta. And there's just a little pull back there from Gary Charles, but the header's won by Villa again. Once more an important leg in, away by Henry. Mazinho. Too much on that though from the Brazilian, trying to get Cadete in. That you'll have played inside from time to time, Jerry, that get on a little bit of a roll like this and you can almost feel invincible at times, and the confidence spreading right throughout the side.
Absolutely, I think you're right, Kevin, because confidence does play a big part to it. They must be cock-a-hoop at the moment, the way things have gone. And as the clock winds down, you know, their confidence will be growing, and they'll be growing in stature, each of these players on the park.
Mazinho tried to pull the strings for Celta tonight, but Villa still with that claret and blue wall in front of Michael Oakes' goal. But now here's an opportunity as Cadete goes in. Oh, turned away there by Michael Oakes, who had to react very quickly. A good instinctive save from the Villa goalkeeper there. And here now is Makaleli. Oh, Southgate again reading the situation well. But good save by the keeper.
Tremendous reflexes. He couldn't have seen it until the last split second, and Cadete's just stuck a foot out and toe poked it. As you just see now, it's Mostovoy that actually stuck it through, and there's Cadete on the end of it. Nice height for Michael, but you'll be pleased with that save. Tremendous.
Salgado. Clock ticks on then. 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time. A match which we brought you live and exclusive here on Eurosport, with Jerry Armstrong alongside myself, Kevin Keatings, and we're in a noisy Balaidos Stadium in northwest Spain as Celta plough forward again. Good work by Celta here, but again, header away. A shot comes in from Thomas. Flies wide.
Well, they said third time lucky, don't they? And it's Thomas's third shot, and he hasn't hit the target yet. And it's a good opportunity again, just on the edge of the box. It sits up nicely, and again, he doesn't hit the target. It's about 3 or 4 feet past the post.
Just needed to get more direction on from whence the ball came to him there, Thomas. But as you see, it was always swinging wide of Michael Oakes' right-hand post. But they have peppered this goal in this second half.
Well, I'm just looking here, and some of the fans are starting to drift out of the stadium, which is great from Aston Villa's point of view. Confidence must be draining from the Celta players now, and there's whistles and boos. So they'll want to just keep possession, wind the clock down, and it'll be job well done.
Just looking at those Aston Villa fans away on the far side from our commentary position as well. None of them seated at the moment, standing, nervously waiting these last few minutes. Applauding Gary Charles as he goes across there to take this throw in for Aston Villa. As you can see them in the background there, one or two Union Jacks waving there, and quite happy to see Villa deep inside the Celta half now. Apologise for the pictures that you're currently experiencing. Hopefully they'll be sorted out in just a few moments' time. But just a minute to go. Aston Villa 60 seconds or so away from a famous victory here. You have to remember, coming to play a side unbeaten in the Primera Liga in Spain. A side like themselves, high on confidence, banging the goals in, but they've found Villa really difficult opponents tonight, but they have gone close on several occasions, particularly in this second half.
Kevin, I'm just looking down at the track, and John Gregory is so relaxed sitting against the dugout. It's untrue. It's as if, like, you know, he's seen this week in, week out, and if the players have got the same confidence that he's got, well, they can go on from strength to strength.
This is Draper. Good intelligent play by Mark Draper, just happy to play it out wide. Now looks for Collymore. Again, apologies about the quality of picture that you may be experiencing inside the Al-Adel Stadium, as a shot is fizzed over the top of Michael Oakes' crossbar from Mecca.
Well, that was a long way out, and he's really got hold of this, and it's dipping at the last second. Oh, it's tremendous save, isn't it?
It was a good save. It just looked from the initial angle that Oakes hadn't got anything on the end of that, but it turned out to be a very, very good save, and it could be a crucial one from young Michael Oakes. What a very important hand to that. But I think what we've seen, Jerry, in the second half here is we've seen the quality of Celta Vigo. As we said, they've been a little unfortunate not to get themselves on the score sheet tonight, but we've seen emphasis of what will face Villa in the second leg.
Yes, but credit to Villa, they've defended tremendously well. I mean, you expect the home side, and especially a side like Celta de Vigo, to create much better opportunities than they've had tonight, and Aston Villa can be proud. They've done a fantastic job. Defensively, they've been superb.
But they have got quality going forward, this side, and so Villa will need just as good a performance in the second leg. But the full-time whistle is blown by the referee, Mr. Sarvan from Turkey. What a victory for Aston Villa. Julian Joachim's goal after 15 minutes, enough to decide it. John Gregory wears the face of a satisfied man. As Jerry Armstrong was saying, he looks the most relaxed man inside this Al-Adel Stadium. Stan Collymore worked his socks off tonight for Villa, and they've all played brilliantly tonight, and Aston Villa win in Spain tonight by 1-0. Well, the Celta supporters, to their credit, trying to applaud their side off the field here, but the Aston Villa fans, Jerry, away on the far side, are jubilant.
Well, they're going to go off and party for a little bit. I believe the players are going home on a charter tonight, and they'll have plenty to talk about on the plane. But what a tremendous performance, what a very professional performance, and it's business as usual, as we've seen over the last 6 or 7 weeks in the Premiership. And John Gregory and Steve Harrison, I see them sauntering across the pitch. They actually said last week they feel that the team can get better, and on what we've seen tonight with the squad they've got, maybe they can get better. Come of age in terms of Europe, and what a wonderful result it's been. Julian Joachim's goal after the setup by Collymore after 15 minutes, live and exclusive on Eurosport. Celta Vigo 0, Aston Villa 1.